Welcome back to the True Assassins podcast, everyone. I'm Adrian Smith, and I'll be your host for this chilling journey
I'm Julia Jones.
into a world where truth is deadlier than fiction. Today, we're going deep into a story that feels like it's ripped
Oh, yeah.
straight from a dystopian thriller, one that forces us to confront the darkest corners of the human psyche.
Absolutely. And I'm here to help unpack this twisted tale.
So, listeners, imagine a world where the government watches your every move, where even a whisper of dissent can get you killed.
The scary thought.
It is. That's the reality for Mara, our protagonist today.
Yeah.
She's a top government assassin in a totalitarian republic, a woman who has dedicated her life to serving this oppressive regime.
And what's so fascinating at Mara is the way the author uses her apartment to reflect her mental state. It's described as sterile, state-sanctioned, under constant surveillance. It's like a gilded cage, a place that offers the illusion of comfort and security, but ultimately traps her.
And into this already suffocating environment comes the kill order, a name glowing on her datapad, a name that's achingly familiar, Isla, Mara's own daughter.
It's a brilliant narrative device, right? Because it instantly throws Mara into this impossible conflict, duty versus love, loyalty to the state versus the primal bond of motherhood.
The author really hammers home this inner turmoil with these subtle details, like the way Mara twists her hair when she receives the order, a gesture she used to share with Isla as a child.
That small detail speaks volumes about the depth of their connection, the love that persists despite the years of separation and the brutal reality of their world.
And that love is what fuels Mara's rebellion. She physically cannot bring herself to kill Isla. The thought creates a visceral reaction, a scream trapped in her throat.
Yeah, that's a powerful image, and it speaks to the idea that even in the most oppressive regimes, the human spirit can still resist. There's a limit to what even the most conditioned mind can accept.
So what does Mara do? Trapped in her apartment, her life essentially forfeits. She makes a choice, a desperate act of rebellion.
Instead of silently eliminating Isla as instructed, Mara allows her to reach the broadcast center. Knowing full well this will expose her, it's a direct challenge to the regime. A suicide mission in many ways.
The scene at the broadcast center is absolute chaos. Cameras are rolling, staff are shouting, and there's Isla on the newscaster's platform broadcasting her message of defiance to the entire republic.
And she knows the risks. But there's this raw courage in her voice as she speaks, a desperate plea for freedom. She says, "The freedom we have been denied is ours to reclaim."
And just as she utters those words, a single shot rings out, silencing her forever.
The author leaves us hanging at this point. We don't know who fired the shot. Was it a government sniper? Another assassin sent to clean up Mara's mess? Or was it someone unexpected? Someone moved by Isla's words?
That unanswered question adds this whole other layer of intrigue to the story. It makes you think about the ripple effects of Isla's actions and how even a single act of defiance can inspire unpredictable consequences.
Exactly. And this is where Mara's response becomes even more fascinating. She doesn't try to escape. She doesn't fight back. She lets the guards arrest her. And as they drag her to the very platform where Isla stood moments before, there's a sense of almost unsettling peace about her.
It's like she's accepted her fate, and she's going to use this final moment, this public spectacle, to deliver her own message of rebellion.
Right. She knows that the regime's control extends even to death. They'll broadcast her execution to every screen in the nation. So she decides to turn their weapon against them. With the cameras rolling and the eyes of the nation upon her, she declares, "My name is Mara, and for 20 years I've served the lies of this republic. My daughter died for speaking the truth. She was a traitor, and so am I."
Talk about chills, right?
Yeah.
It's such a powerful and calculated statement, echoing Isla's call for freedom and exposing the regime's tyranny for what it truly is.
And think about the implications of her words. My daughter died for speaking the truth. She was a traitor, and so am I. Mara is directly linking her own fate to Isla's, elevating her daughter to the status of a martyr.
And in doing so, she's also indicting the entire system, branding the government as the true enemy of the people. It's a brilliant and subversive act of defiance.
It is. And it raises the question, did it work? Did Mara's sacrifice make a difference?
That's what we're going to explore as we dive deeper into the concept of the silent vote and how it operates within this oppressive regime.
It's a fascinating concept for sure.
It is. But first, let's take a deeper dive into that silent vote.
Yeah, that's where that whole thing gets really interesting.
It is.
So we've seen how Mara's act of rebellion culminated in this incredibly powerful statement, a public declaration of her own treason, broadcast to the entire nation.
It's almost like she weaponized her own execution.
Exact.
Turned it into a platform to expose the regime's lies.
Right. And that brings us to the concept of the silent vote, a term that the author uses to describe the undercurrent of dissent that exists within this oppressive society.
Yeah, and it's a fascinating idea because it suggests that even in a world where people are terrified to speak out, where even a whisper of disagreement can get you killed, resistance can still take root.
That's right. The silent vote represents those who may outwardly conform to the regime's demands, but who inwardly harbor doubts and desires for change.
Okay, so how does this silent vote manifest itself? What are the subtle ways that people in this world resist?
Well, think about it. If you can't openly criticize the government, you might express your dissent through art music,
Oh, interesting.
literature, even fashion.
Kind of coded language.
Exactly. It's a way to communicate your discontent without putting yourself in direct danger.
Right.
And the regime is acutely aware of this. They censor anything that even hints at subversion. They monitor every form of expression. They create an atmosphere of constant fear and paranoia.
But even the most tightly controlled narrative can be disrupted.
Mhm.
Sometimes all it takes is a single act of defiance to crack the facade.
Right, and Mara's execution becomes a pivotal moment in this regard because the regime, by broadcasting it to the entire nation, inadvertently amplifies her message. They try to use her death as a warning, a demonstration of their absolute power.
But instead they create a martyr,
Exactly.
a symbol of resistance for the silent majority.
Think about it. You're living under this oppressive regime. You're surrounded by propaganda. You're afraid to speak your mind. And then you see Mara, a woman who was once a loyal servant of the state, willing to die for her beliefs.
Yeah, it really makes you question everything you've been told.
Absolutely.
Wow.
And that's the power of the silent vote. It's a force that operates beneath the surface, slowly eroding the foundations of the regime's authority.
So did Mara's sacrifice spark a full-blown revolution? Did it lead to the overthrow of the government?
The author leaves that open to interpretation, which I think is a brilliant move.
It's a great point because it forces us to confront the complexities of change. It's rarely a sudden and dramatic event. It's more often a gradual process, a series of small acts of resistance that eventually build up to something bigger.
And Mara's story becomes a catalyst in that process, a spark that ignites the flames of dissent.
It's a reminder that even in the most hopeless of situations, hope can exist.
Right, and that even the smallest act of defiance can have far-reaching consequences.
But what about Mara's personal journey? How do you think she reconciled her past as an assassin with her final act of rebellion?
Oh, that's a great question. And I think it speaks to the core of her character.
You see her struggling with her identity throughout the story, torn between her loyalty to the state and her love for her daughter.
Right, and in the end, she chooses love. She chooses to stand up for what she believes in, even if it means sacrificing everything.
Yeah, it's a powerful and ultimately tragic arc.
But it's also incredibly inspiring because it shows us that even those who have been complicit in a system of oppression can find redemption.
It's a reminder that we all have the capacity for both good and evil, and that our choices ultimately define who we are.
Exactly. And Mara's choice, her decision to embrace treason, is a testament to the transformative power of love and the enduring strength of the human spirit.
So we've really explored this chilling world of Mara and Isla.
Yeah.
A world where silence can be a weapon, and where even the smallest act of defiance can have earth-shattering consequences.
It's a story that really makes you think about the nature of power, the seductive allure of control, and the insidious ways in which oppressive regimes can manipulate their citizens. And yet, despite the bleakness of their situation, Mara and Isla both find a way to resist.
They remind us that even in the darkest of times, hope can exist.
And that even when faced with insurmountable odds, the human spirit can still find the strength to fight for what's right.
Absolutely. Their story is a testament to the enduring power of love, the courage to stand up for what you believe in, and the transformative potential of sacrifice.
It's a story that will stay with me for a long time. I hope it stays with you too.
Oh, I think it will. These kinds of stories, they really have a way of getting under your skin, make you question everything you thought you knew about the world.
So before we wrap up, I want to pose a question to you, our listener.
Okay.
If you were in Mara's position, facing that impossible choice between loyalty to a regime that had consumed your life and protecting your daughter, who represented everything that regime sought to destroy, what would you do? It's a question that has no easy answer. It's one that I encourage you to really ponder.
Yeah, and I think in a world that is increasingly complex and where the lines between right and wrong, good and evil, are constantly blurred, it's more important than ever to examine our own values and to be prepared to stand up for what we believe in.
Right. And who knows, maybe by engaging in these difficult conversations, by sharing our thoughts and perspectives, we can inspire others to do the same.
And that's how real change happens, not through grand gestures, but through the accumulation of countless small acts of courage, compassion, and defiance.
That's it.
So keep thinking, keep questioning, and keep resisting.
Yeah, because the fight for freedom, for justice, and for a better world is a fight that never ends.
I love that. So to wrap things up, remember to rate and follow the show for more addictive true crime stories. Until next time, I'm Adrian Smith.
And I'm Julia Jones.
Stay safe out there.